my name is Liam Fleming. I'm the founder of Siul Eile. I suppose Siul Eile came about in 2016. We did our very first walking programme. I suppose it was part of the local GA club. It's She's one of the healthy GA clubs in Ireland, and we did a couch to mountaintop programme. That got a great response locally. I suppose what we did, the background to it is why we did that programme was, I suppose, being from Clogheen myself and walking all around the local area, you'd see very few people out walking, I suppose, and yet there's literally hundreds of different looped walks around the area, but you'd very rarely come across local people. You'd come across walking groups every now and then, but the local people just didn't seem to realise what was there. So we did this couch to mountaintop programme anyway. We started just walking around the local GA field, and the idea was over 12 weeks that we'd gradually build in the hills and eventually bring up to Galtymore, which is the highest point in Tipperary, because we're situated here in the Galtee Valley, which is in between the Knockmel Downs on your left and the Galtees on the right. So we're just surrounded by these wonderful walks the whole time. So we did that programme. We 12 weeks, which 4 walks a week, and like I said, it got a great response. And I suppose, like I said, my initial thing about it was getting people to realise all the walks are on their doorstep, and people were amazed at the amount of walks. But I suppose the other side of that I wasn't really expecting, but what came out was the social side of it. It was connecting locals. I suppose pre-pandemic times, everyone was just rushing and racing here, there, and everywhere, and barely had time to stop to say hello to each other, So that was the huge feedback kind of I got from that initial program. The people were able to connect with their neighbours, get out. Most of the walks are just an hour and a half, kind of so it's just ideal time. People just got out, met the neighbours, got a bit of exercise in, and everyone went away happy again and looking forward to the next walk, So we did that programme. Like I said, great response. I think there was something like 160 locals participated in that. And I suppose just at the end of that programme, then I saw the notice for Social Impact Ireland that they were starting up an incubator programme in UL, and they were looking for participants. So I applied to that. Following from that, then I did an interview here actually with Eamon. Just sussing out whether we were suitable for the programme or not, and luckily enough we got on that, because that's basically what kickstarted all this, that getting on that programme. Without that, this Siul Eile would never got off the ground. I suppose that was the initial start to it anyway.
So I'd say it was an interesting meeting with Eamon initially, was it?
It was, yeah. No, like I said, I mean, I probably didn't really know what I was getting into myself. With the walking and stuff, that from the feedback from people that that they really wanted this and they wanted to continue, but how we were going to do that had no real fixed idea of how this was going to happen. So meeting with them, it was just really right timing for it, because we definitely needed that mentorship and all the other resources. We went on that programme, the initial 8 weeks, I suppose it was finding out all about social enterprises and what social enterprises do, and all the different areas I suppose social enterprises go into. So that itself was kind of new to me, so it would have felt like it started a program, basically soak it up for the first 8 weeks, kind of don't make any decisions as to where you're going with it or anything like that, kind of, so we did that. I certainly did that for the first 8 weeks. It was kind of that was the first block of the program, and when we came back then for the second block, it was more working on our individual projects as to how to further them onto the next stage, and so the work we got from the course then, between workshops and bringing in different social entrepreneurs, giving us their experiences and stuff, that there was huge learning in that, so it was invaluable, really.
Sounds like Eamon and Social Impact Ireland had quite the impact with what you were doing. What do you feel in particular it was that they brought to the table to help you, help you create such a wonderful enterprise is this actually? Like, because I mean, it is after having a considerable impact on people's lives. So, what would you say was the role of Social Impact Ireland in terms of like, how important a role they played in what they brought to the table?
Yeah, I suppose just initially probably just giving me the confidence and the encouragement, to go with the idea. I mean that for me was huge, like because without that, you wouldn't have probably gone to the next step, like so that would have been the biggest impact for me personally, I suppose, like, and then I suppose just for Siul Eile itself, the resources, like I said, that they put behind it, whether it was marketing or mentoring, like I said, getting in these different experts to give us their opinions on how to go forward with things, like I said, that was just totally invaluable.
And what would you say, even now, I suppose, maybe were some of the challenges that you faced as, as a social enterprise? Like, what would you say were the most significant obstacles that you faced along the journey?
I suppose, like, again, I suppose the getting that balance right between the social enterprise, between, I suppose, making your impact with the walks, and then I suppose the financial side of it, like, I suppose being able to monetize the whole Siul Eile side of things was, that was certainly a challenge, and probably always will be a challenge, like, but like that would have been the most difficult challenge. But then, there's other challenges along the way, I suppose. I suppose just sustaining it, I suppose, in itself, like, isn't easy. And then I suppose, again, would have picked it up from the course, I suppose connecting with the right people, and I suppose being wary, I suppose, of others, that may not have had the same goal as you, as to where, in what direction what direction you want to go with it. Like, others would see it maybe as an opportunity for them to forward their own ideas, like, so.
Did you lean on Eamon's expertise a lot during that kind of period, Liam? Did you?
Definitely, like, like I said, we would have hung on his every word, kind of, in the course itself, like, and then
not your every word, Eamon.
but yeah, definitely, like, and like, in the course itself, and then there was one-to-one meetings as well, like, where the feedback was, it was just, I suppose, using that word again, invaluable, but it really was, like, so.
Brilliant. So I guess we're on about walking groups and being in the outdoors. Maybe we can pause this for a little while and we can finish off the rest of it somewhere close by. Maybe one of the paths that you take during the walks. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds great. Yeah, deal spot just up the road.
Yeah, we might get Ken to make a cup of tea there for us. Ken, so just very magically like that, we now have a bit of a different setting. So we're in a location close enough to you that you have some events going on in Liam.
Yeah, this is where now in Kilbally Wood, which is a kilometre outside the village of Clogheen. So this is, again, would be a centre place for a lot of our walks, our meeting point, because you can go in practically any direction you want, and you'll get a loop to walk out of here. So it'll be a very, very popular spot for our local walks.
So I guess maybe one of the more important questions that I would like to ask you is, why is a social enterprise important to you, and also to the wider community? Like, why is it such an important, fabric of Irish society to have these social enterprises spread out throughout the country?
Yeah, I suppose just my own point of view, it's it's just kind of, it's tapping into something, I suppose, that you have a deep desire about, like, I suppose a passion, I suppose, as what Liam would have used regularly, like, throughout our course as well, like, but having, tapping into that passion and that desire, of something that, something that's stirring you inside, I suppose, like, so, and if you follow that, like, only good things can come from it, really, like, so, and like you see, with so many social enterprises throughout the country, like, that is just people following their desires and their passions, and making great things happen for not only for themselves but more so the community around them. I mean, we see that in our own walking programs. Like I said, it developed out of just us walking around Clogheen, and it's spread out now throughout Tipperary. Like, thanks to the Tipperary Sports Partnership as well, we've got behind us. Like, there's 13 Siul Eile groups throughout Tipperary now, and they're all doing different walking programs, throughout the county. Something like 5,000 people have participated in the programs, and so like I suppose that's just, like I said, that is coming from one initial kind of idea, like that there's something can be tapped into these local walks that hadn't been used, like, and that grows legs, and same for any other social enterprise idea, like they all build, and you come to something wonderful at the end of it.
Great. I guess we should probably stop picking on you and let you go off for a walk there if you want. But before I do, maybe the last question I would have is, for someone who, whether they're at the just daydreaming stage, or whether they're at the, where they actually have a social enterprise set up, like, what kind of advice would you give them in regards to their own journey about possibly how Social Impact Ireland could help them and be of benefit to them from just your own very personal experience?
Yeah, I suppose so. I'll definitely be saying get in contact with Social Impact Ireland as soon as you can, because these that's kind of where the stage I was at, basically, was it was a little beyond daydreaming. So we had done an initial program, but where we were going to go from there, with no real idea, like, so having that, I suppose, having the experience of Social Impact Ireland behind it, is huge. Like, I mean, like, there's no way Siul Eile would have grown without it. Like, so definitely, I'd say, if you have any kind of an idea at all in the social enterprise field, get in contact with Social Impact Ireland, because they will help you just tease out the idea, maybe, or and sometimes, like, again, Eamon would have said, like, it may not go in the direction that you would have foreseen initially, but that doesn't mean that it's a failure either. Like, there's so many things can come out of it. Like I said initially, if you follow your desire, it will lead you to a good place. It maybe not be the most direct route, but as we say in the walking field, what is it? The longest way around is the shortest way home. So you just follow your desires, and you will get there.
Brilliant. So if anybody wants to find out more about what you do, and where can they find the information? On website, or
you get most of our, I suppose, through the website, siuleile.com. You'll get you can register for our individual community groups, or you'll see our social walking events. Whether it is up to the tops of the mountains, or walking the trails, the National Waymark trails. Again, we've 3 of them around us here. We're actually East Munster Way and the Tipperary Heritage Way and Blackwater Way all come through here, like, so. But you can all get them on siuleile.com, and then I suppose all of our kind of weekly and daily updates are on our Facebook page. Again, so Siul Eile Facebook page will get you more information.
Great. And just one thing I suppose I didn't touch on is the volunteer aspect of a social enterprise.
Yeah,
sorry now for maybe putting this last.
Yeah.
It's something I heard you speak about before, about the importance of it, and it gives people a lot of purpose. So would you just say anything about the volunteering aspect?
Again, yeah, you definitely should have covered it earlier, I suppose, because it's huge for Siul Eile. Like, I mean, like, say at this stage we've done well over 1,000 walks, like, but none of those walks could have gone ahead without the support of the volunteers, and the volunteers in Siul Eile have been phenomenal. Like, like I said, you need leaders and sweepers and various different roles for every walk, like, and there's just been I suppose an army of volunteers behind Siul Eile, like, and without them, it just, again, it couldn't have gone anywhere, like, so they're vital to it.
Liam, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for giving us your time, and so many wonderful stories. Best of luck on the journey, and everyone at Social Impact Ireland really appreciates everything you've done and your contribution to this little chat as well.
That's
Thanks,
great.
Liam.
Thanks, lads.